How are you feeling?
Like I had a spicy jalapeno pizza.
Mm.
Just hurts right here.
Mm.
But I'm fine.
Are you nauseous?
No, praise be to God.
Yeah. Yeah. Here.
I'm so glad I didn't wake up with that thing in my mouth.
The breathing tube.
Yeah. One side of my mouth was sore. I think my lip, I think they probably punched me.
Probably tried to take the tube out and they punched you. Tried to knock you out more.
But other than that, I'm golden.
Your blood pressure is good. It's 155/88.
Shoot.
Didn't you say it was good? That's good.
That's good. I'm saying shoot. That's good.
Hey, you guys. I am probably going to cry if I talk about how grateful I am for your friendship and love and prayers. So I'm not going to say much about it other than you have no idea, and I just really appreciate it. Well, I'll tell you why here and there in this little story. My hair is totally slicked back and pinned up in the back because I went for a walk earlier with a hat. I'm not screwing around with it now. So you saw that little bit in the recovery room, and then right after she turned off that video was when Olivia goes, "Mom, there was this guy in the waiting room, and he was asleep by the charger, and he had like fallen asleep, but he was holding on to a can of, we call him because my dad called him this, Vienna sausages. It's like, where are we living?" And she just shook her head. And I'm like, "Olivia, don't let me forget that. Like, I don't want this to be part of a drugged haze." And you know, why didn't I think of that ever? Anyway, that made me laugh. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes over here on the side because believe me, clarity of mind is not where I've been at. So, Monday was surgery day, pretty normal day, other than, I had my guts rearranged. Pretty normal other than that. Dree was my day nurse. All these nurses, there's only one that I didn't have a good time with, and I'm actually, instead of just going to complain about it, I've talked to a nurse friend of mine, and I'm going to formally let someone know how I felt like things went down. Because I think that's important, because I don't want other people to go through it that either don't have the support that I have in my family or didn't have the support that I have with my doctor. And I really felt like, honest to God, I hate that this word is overused, but the gentleman nurse was a bully, and he took advantage of my situation, and I don't dig it. And so anyway, I am going to formally write that up. So I'll say very little about it, and I'm not going to say his name. And I'll tell you that my kids are not allowed to name their children that name. But other than that, anyway. So Monday, surgery day. Dree, fabulous nurse. She was super cool, super spot on. She had the voice of Tia and Tamara. Like, she was just so chipper and kind and just really on top of things. So she was my day nurse. And then my night nurse was Mina. And it's short for Philomena. And she was actually from the Philippine Islands and was named after Philomena. So her name is Mina. She was super cool. I got to get ice tips shortly thereafter that day. And then, so Tuesday was my bad day. My dirty, no good, rotten day. I know that's in a book title, but I would add so many expletives to that, especially on that day. I would have if I could have. The gist of what happened was that, whatever, the medication was in short supply, and it seemed like incentive was also to get any help. And the person the nurse that I'm talking about had a really crappy attitude when he interfaced with me, and my daughters were in there and saw. And even Olivia has it on, recorded on some of her Snapchat, which when she sent them to me, I just laughed because her sense of humor in light of that situation is just her sense of humor. So anyway, so that was a bad day. So right when I got that new nurse at 7 o'clock, I should text my family and tell them nicely to shut up because they're playing card games and cackling. But I'm not, because they're happy and that's good. Okay, so 8 a.m.-ish, I got to go to X-ray, where they just put you on this thing and they tilt you back. They have you drink this little clear something something. And the clear something something, then they watch how fast or slow it goes down. Mine went down with no leaks, but it was slow. So, he turned the monitor to me and said, see, it's no leaks, but it's slow. I'm like, oh, okay. I got a slow swallower, I guess. Anyway, so then I get back to my room, and when I get back to my room, I still hadn't had pain meds, and Mr. Sunshine and Applesauce was nowhere to be found, and he had been I could hear him verbally talking bad to his student nurse, and she was scared to go talk to him, and I'd said, I held off on getting pain meds so that I could get kind of an accurate reading of what's going on in my tummy, but right now I really need him. And she's like, well, he says you're not due. And I'm like, boo, I happen to know that I can get them every 2 hours. That's what they told me. And it's been long since 2 hours, and I really need them. And that's where the lovely day began, that particular day, which was the 21st of November. Kelsey eventually went and got the lady that is the program coordinator for bariatric patients. She's a doll. That seriously could make me cry thinking about how helpful she was. She was super helpful in that day. I love her. Chris, total shout out. I need to write her a love letter. So when the doctor came in, so now I've got Mr. Turdbird for my nurse. And that's the nicest, I got a lot of names I could call him, but he was a Turdbird. He comes in, he's trying to help me with pain after this because my doctor came in after my x-ray was read and said, so we need to take you off the fluids, pump up your intravenous fluids, and then see how you do. So just with your extra day of healing without any mouth fluids, which isn't that big of a deal. It's just a little bit demoralizing, but I just wanted to get those little toothbrush things and brush my teeth real quick. And then I was fine with that. And then they wanted to take my Foley off, which was my catheter. Again, do what you got to do. I will sit up, roll over, just give me a second. And my cranky nurse did that. He took my Foley out, and that was all right. He's just all right. But in doing so, somehow we got, that part's irrelevant. I ended up changing my nightgown after that. So then my night nurse that night was Nancy. Nancy's great. Love Nancy. Nancy's a hoot. She had a great hairdo. I thought about getting the name of her stylist. So then Wednesday was the day that I was like, oh, maybe I'll get released today. Today would be great. And Dree, who had been there the first day, and I hardly remembered her, and my girls really liked her, she was there for discharge day. That day I got to eat a popsicle. Woot! A popsicle. I'm not usually a fan of grape popsicles, but I'd eat me a great popsicle now. It was good. Walking. I loved walking. I honestly, when they say, you need to walk, you need to walk, you need to walk, it gets you upright. It moves your body. It actually helps burp you with all the inner gas and stuff that you have inside. I never didn't feel better after I went for a walk. That's probably true about every day of my life. But seriously, you always feel better to go for a walk. So even when you sit there and you think, oh, this pain med's pretty good, pain med's not going anywhere. It goes with you. So if you ever have this surgery, go for a walk. Walking's great. I am the least perky person when it comes to exercise on the planet. But in terms of, just making it work for you, it will get the gases going. And you'll walk down the hall and it will sound like something from Aliens trying to come out of your stomach. But, better out than in. Just keep the Shrek motto going. And it's not just a blessing, but it's a huge factor in whether or not you'll get blood clots and what have you. For instance, before you have surgery, there are a lot of procedures that they check on to make sure you are, that your blood and your veins are pretty clear. And one of the ones that I had to have was a upper and lower leg ultrasound of some kind. And the guy would explain to me, like, when you flex your foot, like, it would be like no flow, and then flex your foot, and then the blood flow was like whoosh, 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 whoosh. And he's like, that's why walking's so good. He said, people think it's this, it's that, it's the other. He goes, you could just sit there and rotate your feet. And he said that alone is very good, like for people who have knee surgery and you think, what am I doing just sitting here with those little teeny tiny bicycle spinners? The motion of putting that blood through your system in some very large veins is really important and evidently very helpful and healthful. And all of this stuff seems intuitive, but I tell you, when I went for a walk, I was rotating my legs, and I always come back and go, oh, could I do another round? But I also felt like I was just staring at the same people in the hallway the whole time. So anyway, I got discharged on kind of late afternoon Wednesday night, got home. I don't remember the days and nights. I probably should have written some stuff. I did write some stuff down, but I haven't looked at it. Frankly, it would be kind of depressing today, but I'll look at it again. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that was Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and then the weekend. So I always wanted to be one of those women that like popped out a baby on Thursday and then showed up at church on Sunday. Well, ain't nobody got time for that, or I don't, and I don't have that's not how it works on my body, I guess. My body is just like, you know what? Rome wasn't built in a day. So when you leave the hospital, this is where things got tricky for me this week. And it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. I had an adverse reaction to heparin, which is a blood thinner. Now, most everybody that has gastric bypass, I don't know about for gastric sleeve. When you leave, you get the heparin blood thinner injections to put in your tummy. Now, the shots don't hurt at all. They don't hurt at all. You just put it in. Especially when you're heavy, you got a belly. There's not a whole lot of nerve endings stretched out in there. So you got a belly, you can put it in there. But every time I would put it in, the injection, I would just feel like, crap. I would just like get this malaise of just, I didn't feel good. And so it built up and built up and built up in my system. And to the point where I had a consistent, rhythmic, it was almost like contractions being timed, response to it, in that I would get a really tight chest, and I just was throwing everything up. But the first symptoms that I had from it were I had a fever. You'd take the thing, I'd lay down at night, and I'd have the low-grade fever. Well, at night, when you're crazy or emotional or whatever, I'd take it, and I'd take like a picture of it with my phone so nobody thought I was nuts. But I just had this low-grade fever every night, and it kept climbing up, and I'm right at 101. And they said 101. I'm thinking, if I call them with 101, who knows what they'll say. So I finally talked to my doctor. What's today? Friday. So I called Wednesday night, and I said, I got to tell you, I took this medicine last night. I have been so bloody sick. I have puked, and it's like, there's nothing that works. I've eaten this, I've eaten that, I've eaten another thing, and I said, I have walked. There's a route that's 1 mile, so usually in the morning I can do 1 mile, and then the evening after dinner or right before dinner I can do the other miles. I've walked 2 miles a day. And then, just for kicks and giggles, y'all, I'll show you the room later. I just, while I'm sitting here, I can't just sit. For one thing, I mentally don't like it. For another, the medicine was building up in my system and making me crazy to the point where I couldn't sleep. So I wasn't sleeping, which makes a sane person crazy, and I've never claimed to be sane. And I was just getting completely nuts with the no sleep, constant puking. I couldn't find a thing that would stay down. Then I'd get creative, and that would really foul me up. So anyway, it was all a built-up reaction, like an adverse allergic reaction to a blood thinner that, frankly, if you're active, like I have been with this post-surgery and walking and what have you, you don't need it that long anyway. But it's definitely important for most major surgeries like that. And top it off, and I do mean top it off, I am thankful I'm not at one of the and I'm not judging. I don't give two flips about a competition, but I'm just saying in terms of standard procedure, my BMI being around 43 when I started is pretty low towards the minimum of people that would have this surgery. So I was active. I remain active. I'm committed to remaining active. So my 2 miles a day, they're staying in there, man. They're staying in there. So last night what happened was, I'm so grateful. My sister is very, very pushy on medical stuff, and I appreciate her, and I appreciated it. But what people couldn't understand is I could not, to save my life, I could not stop throwing up. So I needed the doctor. He got me some suppositories, and I have no pride about taking suppositories. And add to that, short arms. So I was dedicated and just all about making it work. So I took my suppository, laid down for an hour, and as soon as I could see that that would work, he had said to me on the phone, the point is you aren't keeping down ice chips, so you need some fluids. So I'm packing on the water today, but you got to take water in sips, So that's true. What else? So I went to the hospital last night, and it was just the longest wait. They had a very busy day. It's Murphy's Law, and it always happens that way. Now I am ready to tell them to shut up. I don't know if they're barking or what they're doing. But anyway, so let me tell you a little something. I'll just give some quick tips and some things that have worked for me and a couple thank yous. And then a result of where I'm at weight-wise. So popsicles are my friend. I do like me some popsicles now. I particularly like the coconut ones and banana ones. I haven't even thought about doing sugar-free fudgesicles, but that just popped into my head just now. Ice chips are actually my favorite over anything. A friend sent me a care package that had, and this will make me cry too, it was a bariatric variety of stuff. The chicken broth that is with that is amazing. Now, it's going to be a while before I dive into that stuff because everything I've received and tried, I've also gotten sick on for 3 days straight. So I'm having to experiment with a little bit differently and go a little slow right now with food. I get my protein in and then just water because I'm low on water. And then I just had the insomnia that was more mentally draining for me than anything because I don't like to cry and hurt. I like to choose one or the other. I don't want to do both. So thank you to my friend that sent me the care package of bariatric stuff. I love you, and I can't thank you enough. I cried when I got it. I cried when it was good. My favorite so far is the bariatric chocolate milk that you can just have for breakfast, which that's what I do with coffee anyway if I have my druthers. Gas X chewables, yes please. Thank you to my other friend for mentioning that, and just to a few of the folks that have listed that. I really appreciate your suggestions of little things. One little thing they tell you not to do, and I don't know if it's a little thing they tell you not to do it. You're not supposed to sip with a straw so you don't overdrink. Here's a news flash. Back in the day, me and large volumes of fluid consumption, whether it was big gulp or whether it was too much alcohol, I have never, ever in my life drank on small levels. And obviously one of those, if you drink large alcohol consumption, will get you into trouble eventually, which is why I pretty much don't drink alcohol. It's an exception to the rule if I'm drinking. So, that said, sipping in a straw does not make me like gulp like some. I don't know if that's why they tell you not to drink in a straw because you'll gulp. But I have a sippy, like one of those things that you put a straw in, and I don't drink with it always. But I can tell you right now, I don't over sip. I don't over consume fluid volume because of the straw. Maybe some people are just used to swilling with a straw. No, thank you. I never drink beer with a straw. Never drink, huge quantities of water or anything with a straw. So a straw is not going to overdo it for me. I don't know if there's another reason why you're not supposed to drink with a straw. But that didn't bother me. I drank with a straw. Last but not least, my little trick for myself to keep myself from gulping when I was wanting to just gulp was I sent Brady out with specific instructions, and he actually followed them on this specific thing. Sippy cups. Give me a 0 to 6 month sippy cup. And I'd put water or the clear protein tropical juice that is in there. Well, not that's in there, that I put in there. And that made me happy. Another friend with bariatric surgery suggested hot tea or just tea, obviously herbal. Peppermint tea in a sippy cup has been my go-to. That sounds good right now. Okay, grand finale. Numbers are not the most important thing. Your health is. But honestly, it is a beautiful thing to see your scale going down. So I think my last doctor's appointment, when I went in probably a month ago, yeah, I was at 237-ish in the doctor's office. I have an appointment on Monday, so I'll check. But I'm already down around, like a pound up or pound below 220. So that's 17 pounds, and I haven't even really started the good stuff in terms of this transition. It's been 2 weeks, so I'm happy with that. So that means I've lost about 7 pounds since surgery, and I was about 3 pounds up when I came home from surgery, because they fill you up with air and they sit you on your butt for 3 days. But honestly, I'm feeling much better. The medical reaction that I had to the blood thinner was no bueno, and I'm just super, super happy with getting better every day. I'm going to talk more about some serious stuff in the future, and I'll warn people at the beginning of that video, and I'm warning you now. It's about food addiction, it's about obesity, and it's about unattractive topics that that are more the heart of why I wanted to do this, and more the ugly side of why I wanted to do this. And so for cutesy, I mean, it'll be funny in parts because I'm not gonna pull any punches, but it's not gonna be cleaned up for public consumption. So just know that the next time I post one of these, I'll warn you at the beginning, but God bless people's bones, they don't always believe me that I'm going to tell the truth, and I'm gonna. Like, the topics that I'm thinking of are actual food addiction. Stuff people don't get, you know. And then additionally, the impact of obesity on me specifically, physiologically, emotionally, those kinds of things. And I will share that because I don't think I'm alone in it. And I also want people to know that there's other ways of fixing a problem, and this is a drastic tool. But it's just a tool, because I'm telling y'all right now, addicts, and that would be me, can get what they want, and they can screw up any old tool. Any old tool, y'all. So I don't have any plans to do that. I don't want to sabotage myself, and my whole heart is in just being healthy and living the longest, fullest life I can. And this is going to help me do that. It's already helping me do that. Praise God. I slept so good last night. Every time I turn around today, I just touch my face and go, oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for all the people who prayed. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much sleep just made my heart so happy. I got up and peed this morning when Brady went to work, and he said goodbye, and I'm just so happy, emotional, you know. And then whenever I went back to sleep and I woke up again and it was so much later, I was like, no way, I've slept more than 90 minutes in a row, and I'd cry again. So I thank y'all, and I don't just say it, I mean it. I mean it for reals. So I love you so much. You'll never know how much that's true. And I'll definitely be updating you in the next week or so and sharing some of those specifics that I talked about. It's a long one, this video, but I hope you enjoyed seeing the update and knowing that as sad and poopy as I've had a few days, walking, breathing, and getting some sleep's made all the difference. And you, I thank you so much. Now I'll hang up and cry.